And we're joined now by Robert Moran. He's a partner at the Brunswick Group, a communication strategy company. He's a former project director at Public Opinion Strategies, a research firm specializing in political affairs and public policy. He's joining us from Dallas. Robert, everyone has an opinion on this, who won, who lost, and will it matter come Election Day? So why don't we start there? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think we'll know for another few days. In about 2 days' time, we'll have some tracking data in key states, and we'll have a much better sense of how this debate played out. I think, though, generally speaking, he was strong at the beginning. Trump was strong at the beginning and really flagged at the end. I think Hillary sort of gained her footing in the second half, was able to land a lot of strong blows on Trump and spoke on foreign policy, a place that she's naturally more comfortable on. But I think it's important for the audience to remember that in reality, the only people that matter in these debates are low information voters in swing states who are themselves swing voters. Everyone else is largely irrelevant. So what do those low information swing voters in swing states think? Well, likelihood that they watch the entire debate is low. I think they're likely more concerned about the economy than most. And Donald Trump did land some points on the economy, showed passion about the economy. And I think actually although he had a weak performance overall, in the first 30 minutes or so, I think his performance was strong enough that a low information swing voter, a swing state, may view him as the winner.
All right, well, we'll be watching for that over the next few days. Let's talk a little bit about foreign policy. It wasn't deep in foreign policy. Jim mentioning China came up about 12 times. The tone was different from each candidate. I want to play a couple excerpts and get your thoughts. Let's start with Donald Trump. He was asked about no first use of nuclear weapons, and here was his response.
I think that once the nuclear alternative happens, it's over. At the same time, we have to be prepared. I can't take anything off the table because you look at some of these countries, you look at North Korea, we're doing nothing there. China should solve that problem for us. China should go into North Korea. China is totally powerful as it relates to North Korea.
So it seems to be implying that China should be doing the bidding of the United States and solve this problem for the U.S., and I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Donald Trump is not a foreign policy expert. He's debating the former Secretary of State, and she has mastery of details, and he does not. Even if later you listen to them discussing NATO, I thought his response on NATO, his response on burden sharing with U.S. allies was very weak. I think he's in his safe zone when he is playing to a wrong track electorate that's concerned about, that has many economic anxieties. I think he's good when he's on the attack, but when he's asked to speak on specifics, on foreign policy, I'm afraid he's underprepared.
Yeah, well, we probably have an example of that because the two candidates tussled over the Iran nuclear deal. Here's Hillary Clinton defending her stance.
I voted for every sanction against Iran when I was in the Senate, but it wasn't enough. So I spent a year and a half putting together a coalition that included Russia and China to impose the toughest sanctions on Iran.
So she seems to be selling a different approach, working with China on an issue. So talk to me stylistically. What are the takeaways for leaders in capitals around the world? And they're trying to gauge these two candidates. One of them will end up as president of the United States in their foreign policy approaches.
Well, the president's character and their demeanor and the way they communicate, their ability to control their emotions and control the language that they use is essential to the job. Donald Trump does not have control over his emotions, and he does not have control over his language. If you go back in time and you look at other presidential candidates, they clearly are using language in debates, especially in regards to foreign policy, that is calibrated so that American domestic audience understands what they're saying, but so that foreign leaders also understand what they're saying. Donald Trump does not do that. I thought one of the marks of maturity of a candidate last night was Hillary Clinton specifically essentially almost apologizing for Donald Trump and speaking more to world leaders, in fact, than to the general population of the United States, talking about the importance of our alliances, of keeping our commitments, of showing our commitment in the face of adversity. And I think there's one clear sort of foreign policy leader and someone who's been briefed up on the facts. In this case, it's clear that he did not really prepare on foreign policy, and this is a space that she knows. So the more the debates are about foreign policy, I think the harder it is for him because he has no mastery of any of that detail.
And Robert, there's been a lot of talk today about his preparation for this. What can we expect from the next debate? It's a different forum. Does it favor either candidate? Will Trump be more prepared this next time around?
In most traditional political campaigns, the candidate listens to the campaign team and they prepare together. That's Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton clearly prepared, had mastery over a number of details. That is not Donald Trump. I do not believe that Donald Trump's advisors have much control over the campaign or the candidate. I think the candidate makes those decisions himself in the moment, and I think that's being charitable. I think the format, in a way, because it's more like a reality TV format, I believe, taking questions from the audience, could in a way favor him, but I'm not sure that he is going to come back as prepared as he should. I think Team Clinton found that they could clearly rattle him when they raised issues around how he treats subcontractors in his businesses, around his business ethics generally, around all sorts of manners about how he's conducted business. He was clearly rattled by questions around that. I think they're going to keep pushing that angle, and I think that pushes him into a space in which his rhetoric can become dangerously overheated or digress into some very strange answers. So I think Team Clinton will be very disciplined in their attack on him. It's very difficult to predict what Donald Trump will do. And in fact, I think in a strange way, that makes it harder for Hillary Clinton. You know, debating Donald Trump is not like debating any other presidential candidate. He doesn't play by the rules. He doesn't play by time allotment. He talks over the moderator, which is something we haven't really seen in American politics, at least in my memory. And so it's much harder for Team Clinton to simply prepare for him and prepare for the unexpected.
Well, we are going to keep our eyes peeled for that next one. Robert Moran joining us from Dallas. Thanks so much.
Thank you.